Growing up in my grandmother's house, we always had these awesome swivel rocker chairs. And I always wanted one in my apartment, but because my couch is so big, I could never really have room for one. But I thought to myself, since my roommate was moving out, I'm going to treat myself to a chair, which I found back in November at a thrift shop for 20 bucks. And I love it. It's in this really weird orange and green fabric, but it's actually really an adorable chair. However, it doesn't match anything I have in my apartment, and I thought it would be a good idea to put a chair in my bedroom so that I don't spend all my time in the bed while I'm watching television. And I really, really, really love this chair. Here's a close-up of the fabric, and it's really itchy and it's kind of metallic. So I'm going to reupholster this chair, and this is what I used. Rotary cutter and mat, rubber mallet, and a tack hammer, needle nose pliers, and wire cutters, and awl, screwdriver, depending on what type of screws that are in the bottom of your chair, industrial staple remover, heavy duty hand stapler and heavy duty staples, extra strong upholstery or tapestry thread, decorative tacks, and also decorative trim for piping, and iron and starch. So, fiber tack strip. It's got nails attached to it. Upholstery needles, your regular sewing foot, as well as your zipper sewing foot for attaching the piping, an upholstery zipper, and your choice of upholstery fabric. I bought this chair back in November 2015, and I knew that I was going to save it for one of the last projects for my bedroom remodel. I only have 2 more projects to do after this, and I knew that I wanted to do this project right because I'm going to have to look at this chair for a long time. So, I saved it as one of the best for last, and it actually, even though it took probably a total of 20 hours to do the entire chair, which I did over the course of 2 weeks, it actually was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. There isn't a lot of sewing involved, mostly just hammering. Here is all of the staples I'm going to have to remove, and there were quite a few of them. So after I've got the skirt taken off of the bottom of the chair, which I'm not going to replace a skirt on the chair because I'm not really a big fan of hidden legs on stuff. That's where bugs hide and dirt hides, so I will not be replacing the skirt. So that's going in the trash. But this is going to expose all of the staples that are in the bottom of that chair, keeping the fabric nice and tug around the edge of the seat there. The industrial staple remover comes in handy. It makes everything really, really nice. Where it will come in that you will need your needle nose pliers and your wire cutters will be if you go to pull out your steel staple and it does not come out cleanly, then you can pull it out that way. And this chair is decades old, probably from the 70s or 60s, so you will need all of the tools if you're reupholstering a really, really old chair. Right now what I'm doing is I'm actually unscrewing the base of the swivel and rocker from the bottom of the chair because that's going to be spray painted all black as soon as I get it detached from the chair. Plus it's going to give me a lot more stability to work with the chair directly from the floor instead of on top of the swivel rocker. That's the base of the chair, which I spray painted with 2 coats outside. Quite a bit of the sides of the chair as well as the back of the chair was hand stitched with wax thread, which is not something that I came across in the upholstery section at the craft store. So I'm not going to be reattaching it by hand stitching either because I hate hand stitching. So I'm going to be tacking this down with the decorative nail head trim. After detaching the back of the chair, I'm seeing that this is looking like it's going to be pretty simple. There is a tack strip here at the top to keep that top part nice and tugged down, as well as these staples that I'm going to have to remove. Also, there's bugs right there that I found. Who knows how long they had been there, but they were dead. It was 2 of them. So it's so important to get a dust cover on the bottom of the chair so that that cannot happen. Here I am removing the staples that are holding the front cushion of the chair attached to the back of the chair. There is a lot of very neat tugging and stapling everywhere on this chair to keep everything like so nice and neat. I mean, even though it's an old chair, they did a great job on it. And I really like the chair in the condition that it was. It just doesn't match anything in my home. And I know that this has probably been in somebody's house for a long time before they donated it to the thrift store. So whoever's skin and DNA is on this chair, I do not want it in my home, which is why I am reupholstering it, you know, besides the fact that it doesn't match my bedroom. So this was kind of a tedious work. It took about 3 hours for me to remove all of the staples from the chair. And I did it on a warm Sunday afternoon, thank goodness. I didn't know if I was ever going to get finished with this project. What I do know is I think doing this chair and taking all of the fabric and batting apart is what kickstarted my sinuses. My voice is a little hoarse right now. I'm just now starting to get it back after like 2 days of not having a voice. But I would suggest if you have a garage or a studio that you can do this in, don't do it in your home, especially if you don't know who this chair belonged to before or it was not already in your possession from being brand new, because you never know what you're going to release in your home as far as mold and spores and stuff like that. So definitely make sure there are no children around. I could not do this while my nephew was over, and that also took a couple of days away from me being able to complete this project a lot sooner, because there's lots of sharp objects that you have to use. And make sure that you keep your vacuum on handy, okay, because you're going to want to sweep up all of the debris, foam, batting, threads, staples, all of that. Here I'm showing you that I have finally gotten the front cushion detached from the back of the chair. However, it is still attached at the bottom part of the chair around the back with staples. What you do see there is the inside cushion is a separate portion from where you actually would push your back up against, so that part will have to be saved. I did not buy extra batting in order to do this project because I didn't know exactly what kind to buy. I have not seen anyone reupholster a chair before. I did not look at any books. I did not research it. I am literally just winging this. And I do that because I like to challenge myself to see if I can figure out how to do something before I consult someone else. As you guys have seen in many other projects that I've had posted here on my channel. But this was, like I said, a really fun one because I could sit and do it while I was either listening to music or watching TV. It's not really one of those things I like to do when somebody's over the house, because then they're kind of like in the way or asking questions. And when you really don't know what you're doing, you don't want to answer any questions because you don't have any answers for them. But you will see that there is webbing on the back there as well as a burlap piece of fabric, which kind of makes sure that the cushion and the batting and everything does not flow through the frame of the chair. And finally, I was able to get the cushion detached from the back of the chair. And as you can see, it's a pretty hefty piece of cushioning there. And there's the front that has the tufted buttons, which I will not be tufting buttons on my chair. It's just such an old look. I'm not interested in having tufted buttons. Plus, I'm going to be getting a throw to drape over the chair anyway to protect it from my hair when I'm laying back on the chair. So the next part that I'm going to be doing is detaching the arms and the seat from the chair. And as you can see, I've already got it loosened here in this next clip. So what I'm doing is I'm saving all of the fabric pieces so that I can basically just trace over them so that I know which size pieces to put directly back on the chair. Again, I did not buy new batting. I tried as carefully as I could to remove the fabric from the batting without taking too much batting off of it, because it's already in the shape that I need it to be. Plus, this batting is really kind of loose. It's not in a uniform sheet of any kind. And I'm not really certain where I could find that because at the craft store they didn't have batting like that. And I'm just kind of marking which side each piece belongs to, because after a while each piece will start to really start looking like other pieces. So mark as you go along, and if you need to, get a piece of paper out and let you write down each step as you do it, because the way that I was able to put the chair back together after cutting out the pieces was I put the chair back together exactly how I took it apart in reverse order. So here is the naked chair stripped down to the bare. Where there were seams on the fabric, I'm taking my seam ripper and detaching everything so that I can just trace the old fabric over the new fabric. Here is everything detached with the seam ripper, so I have each piece as I need it. And this is the new fabric with each piece as I need it. This is the inside of the cushioning of the chair. The batting that's between the fabric and the cushion, actually. And for that, I just went ahead and saved it into a large plastic bag. Tried not to mess with the formation of it too much so that I can put it right back inside of my new fabric, just so, as you see here in this picture. And this is with the original cushion sewn into the fabric and batting. Also, this is the reattached seat fabric and arm fabric. This is with it completely stapled down. And so far, with the cushion reattached by staple, the sides reattached with staples, and the seat reattached with staples, this is where I've gotten so far. So the majority of anything that needed to be done on the sewing machine has been accomplished by now, which was only actually the cushion I needed to sew. Everything else I was able to attach with a stapler. And it made it so much easier. The only thing is that your hand will get tired if you do not have grip strength. You will get tired from using that hand stapler. So if you can find that one that is pneumatic or is air compressed stapler, I would suggest doing that. But again, make sure there's no children around and you have on your safety protection equipment. After starching and ironing the outward side piece of fabric for the chair, what I'm going to do next is get a tack strip out and attach it to the chair. The purpose of the tack strip is to make sure that the upper fold of that fabric is very clean and tight. This is my first time working with tack strip material, and it's actually pretty neat and very easy to use as well. Just pin the fabric on at just a few intervals, because again, remember you're going to be hammering this on. It's not permanent, but it's pretty permanent because you're not going to be moving it at all. Pin your fabric on exactly where you need it. There's the tack strip, as you can see. And that is a tack hammer. It delivers the blow straight to the actual tack head. And I start with tacking it on just a smidgen from the front to the back, because I'm going to be clipping off the remainder of the tack strip from the back. Now I'm not hammering it all the way through, just enough to get it to stick right inside of the fabric so that I can trim off the excess. I am going to keep the excess for any other possible small projects. Remember just to replace it back in the tube that it came back in for safekeeping, because nobody wants to be attacked by nails. Now that it is for the most part stuck in, I'm going to remove those pins because we don't need that anymore. Then I'm going to take my rubber mallet and I'm going to go ahead and hammer it all the way in, down to the bare bones. The rubber mallet has such a wide strike that there's less of a possibility of it missing the trim. So that's why I'm using it to drive it all the way through the wood on the chair instead of using the tack hammer. Then, as you can see, there's a very clean fold on there as if it's almost been pressed, but it hasn't been pressed. Then I'm going to fold a very small seam in towards the front of the chair, to which you're going to see how I'm going to attach that down on the rest of the arm, which doesn't have anything to do with the nail head trim. It's awesome. Or the tack trim. So from here, after folding in the seam, I'm going to pierce a hole with the awl. And again, use your rubber mallet, not the tack hammer. Then you put in your decorative nail head and then go ahead and nail that straight through with the rubber mallet. You definitely want to have a rubber mallet for nailing in the decorative nail head trim because it's going to stop the nail head trim from being damaged or scratched in the process of being hammered. It doesn't take off the glossy finish, and it doesn't leave any marks or anything like that in the nail head. Trust me, you don't want that. I've made the mistake of using a regular hammer on it, and it's not good. Plus, again, the mallet has a wider strike, so less of a chance of missing the nail head. I've already finished the cushion, the chair. All I'm going to do is measure out for the dust cover underneath of it. And here you see it attached to the bottom of the chair. And after reattaching the swivel rocker at the bottom of the chair, I am finished with this project. Yay! The other two should be a breeze from here. Hopefully, at least I'll get one of them finished tonight. The other finished tomorrow, and then I am officially done with my bedroom remodel. Thank you, Lord. Now I can move on to getting my living room back together, as you can see with all that exercise stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching. Here's some pics.